Aspirations for the new year. How can meditation facilitate a revisiting of objectives for the new year? What does it mean to apply practice to planning? Now is a good time to be thinking about all of those things, but I have a couple of caveats that I want to start with. Aspiration. I use the word aspiration rather than objective or goal. I like the word aspire. It has that element of direction to it, right? But it's a direction like an exhale is a direction, or an inhale is a direction. It's a direction because it is happening, rather than because it's being forced or shaped or made. A lot of what we talk about as objectives for meditation, or a lot of reasons why we come to meditation, are epiphenomenon of meditation. They're not the goal. They're not the aspiration. You can meditate to relax, because meditation will relax you. You can meditate to get a grip on anxiety or on anger or other difficult emotions, because meditation will provide that space. You can meditate for focus and for performance, but because meditation does bring focus and performance. But those are all, like I say, they're secondary phenomena. They're epiphenomenon around the practice of meditation. So the first question is, what is the aspiration of meditation, and how will that help as we prepare for a new year? And why the new year? Now is a good time. It is still the new year. It's January the 4th. I think the new year can really be considered up until Epiphany. At that point, you're in January. But only in as much as these cultural artifacts of newness are useful should we pay attention to them, because the aspiration of meditation and the changes that will come along with that are available any day, and they're available any moment of any day. So we have an aspiration and a moment. And yes, we can call those New Year's resolutions, but I prefer calling it aspiration. So what is the aspiration for meditation? Have a think about that. There's a sequence to go through, and I always frame these sequences as non-sequential sequences. Yes, there's a useful way of thinking about a progression in terms of practice, but practice is not linear, and the sequences, the stages that I'll talk through, are spiraling. They are simultaneous. They are disordered. But you get it, right? So, but along with all of that, there is a useful practice sequence. And each of those sequences has a different aspiration. And each of those aspirations is useful for the moment, and useful then as we look out to the future. Because even as we meditate within the moment, as we focus on the phenomena of the mind, of the body, of the sensations, of our thoughts, as we focus on those in the moment, as really the only capability we have to really articulate any of those things, there is a future, and we do look at it, and we do need to consider it. when I look at meditation, when we look at the practice, the first realization, we all come to meditation attached in some way or another to the idea that we are the thoughts and experiences that occur. Right? I am my body. I am this desire. I am this anxiety. I am this happiness. That is who I am. We start with that. But one of the first acknowledgments, realizations as you start to sit, is that those thoughts and emotions are happening in a space. And the aspiration of that first stage is stability. The stability to be able to observe the arising, sustaining, and dissolution of all thoughts and emotions. The aspiration of stability as we look through the year, whether that year is a calendar year or a year from this moment for the next 365 days, or whether it's a shift in perspective that is unsettled from linear calendrical time and is simply an experience. The aspiration for this moment is stability. Stability to observe that things are happening and that there is a space between the things that are happening and me, you, the sense of the observer. That seems very clear to say that, but experiencing that is something that comes, right? It comes pretty quickly as you sit and you realize that you started sitting angry and you are no longer angry. But you are still you, so you obviously have a different relationship to that anger. Okay, then with that stability, that attention, well, the second part is who is the observer? We start to get into not the content of the thoughts, but the characteristics of thought in general, the nature of the mind. And the aspiration for this stage, and remember these stages are not sequential, there's a sense that you need a certain level of stability before you start to acquire insight. But it's not like a checkbox, check. There's a continuing cycling back and forward over the course of a lifetime, over the course of a retreat, over the course of a meditation session, the course of a video. Insight comes and goes and moves and back and forth. Insight into the attributes of the thought. So the aspiration for the year is stability, insight, and then the third aspiration is I'm going to use the word equanimity, but that's only shorthand for kind of the immeasurable experience of compassion, kindness, joy, and equanimity. Right? Sort of the authentic movement through the space, because with that insight into the nature of thought turned on to the nature of the thinker, what else is there to do except to be that authentic person? For myself, we did an exercise this year. My daughter suggested that we think of a word that will be a navigation, a beacon for the year, for the upcoming year. And the word that came to me is unfettered, not held back by doubt, recrimination, guilt, lack of confidence. It overlaps a lot with this idea of authentic movement, recognizing, aspiring towards authenticity, spontaneous authenticity. And spontaneous doesn't mean spur of the moment, unthinking. It means naturally arising from the insight into the nature of thought and observer that comes once you have achieved stability. One hope, aspiration, wish, desire that I have for everybody watching this video today is that over the next calendar year, your practice matures and develops. However, whatever that means. If you're a beginner, ask me some questions. I can help. If you're an advanced meditator, I bow to you. And I look forward to comments and suggestions. I like this way of thinking about aspirations because from this position, I can pick up other actual goals. I do have some goals, right? I want to write a good first draft of an opera. I want to host 2, maybe 3 house concerts where I play on the piano my own music and other pieces that are meaningful to me. I want to pass the B2 DELF exam, the foreign language test in French. I want to become a single-digit Q ranked Go player. That's probably the hardest one that I have. And I want to exercise more frequently in terms of cardio exercise. All of those are things that I can pick up as time allows and focus on because my broader aspiration is this sort of unfettered, spontaneous, insightful stability. Oh, I have a lot of other things I want to do this year as well. I have more music I want to write. I have some studies I want to do, like analysis. I want to do some videos on Ostvolskaya, Galina Ostvolskaya. That's a lot I want to do. But it is all contingent on maintaining stability. That's the first objective. So, with that, keep your wits about you. Please drop a comment, question, criticism, and I'll be back shortly.